In the soft golden haze of early morning light spilling across Egyptian cotton sheets in a penthouse 60 stories above the city, Sophia Langford, 22 years old, porcelain fair skin still flushed from the night before, long chestnut waves cascading in wild disarray, opened her eyes and felt her heart seize in pure, electric shock. The man asleep beside her, breathing slow and steady, was the same rain-drenched food delivery rider who had knocked on her door less than 12 hours earlier. The stranger whose quiet presence had somehow melted years of guarded isolation and whose unknown gift might be the only thing standing between her and a slow, inevitable fade into darkness. Her fingers trembled as they hovered above his face. Alex Rivera, 28, warm olive complexion kissed by years under sun and streetlights, dark stubble shadowing a strong jaw, faded red delivery jacket crumpled on the velvet chaise like evidence of another life, lay peaceful, one arm draped protectively across her waist even in sleep. The memory of last night flooded back in vivid, aching color, his soaked uniform clinging to broad shoulders, the crooked smile when he apologized for dripping on her marble foyer, the way conversation had stretched from polite small talk into raw, unguarded truth until the rain outside matched the rhythm of their breathing. She had given him everything, trust, vulnerability, her untouched heart, and in return he had given her a few precious hours without pain, without the constant weight of a body betraying itself. Now the stakes towered higher than the skyscraper they lay in, her rare neuromuscular disorder was accelerating. Specialists had already whispered the word terminal. Without a miracle she would lose the ability to walk, to hold a cup without shaking, to breathe without assistance, then life itself. And the one man who had mysteriously eased her symptoms for the first time in 3 years had vanished once already. What if he disappeared again before she could learn why his touch felt like medicine? The storm had arrived just after sunset. Sophia wandered the cavernous living room in soft charcoal cashmere lounge pants and an oversized ivory knit sweater that swallowed her slender frame. Floor-to-ceiling glass framed a glittering city she could never quite touch. Her father, Victor Langford, was in Singapore finalizing a merger that would add another zero to an already obscene fortune. The household staff had clocked out hours earlier. Silence pressed against her chest heavier than any symptom. On impulse she opened her phone, scrolled past gourmet options, and ordered the plainest comfort food she could find, chicken noodle soup, crusty bread, chamomile tea. Something warm. Something ordinary. The intercom chimed 23 minutes later. She opened the double doors to find Alex standing under the awning, water streaming in rivulets off his matte black helmet, paper delivery bag clutched tight against his chest to shield it from the downpour. "Evening, ma'am. Sorry I'm a little late," the expressway flooded. His voice carried a gentle Midwestern lilt softened by city years, calm even while soaked to the bone. Instead of grabbing the bag and retreating behind polite thanks, she heard herself say, "You're drenched. Come in. Just for a minute. I'll get you a towel." He hesitated, eyes flicking to the opulence behind her, then stepped inside, careful footsteps barely disturbing the silence. She handed him a thick bath sheet from the guest closet. He accepted it with a quiet, "Thank you," and rubbed it over his hair, revealing tousled black strands that fell across his forehead. They stood in the foyer at first, awkward, polite. Then she gestured toward the living area. "The couch is dry. Sit. Warm up." He peeled off the dripping jacket, revealing a plain charcoal t-shirt stretched across a lean, muscle torso shaped by labor rather than gym mirrors. Underneath the sleeve of his right arm peeked the edge of an old scar, thin, surgical, precise. She noticed but said nothing. They settled on the enormous sectional soup bag between them like a fragile truce. Conversation began haltingly. She asked about the rain. He asked about the view. She admitted she rarely looked at it anymore because it reminded her how small she felt. He nodded, understanding without needing explanation. Minutes became an hour. The soup cooled untouched. He spoke of delivering to penthouses like this one while wondering if the people inside ever felt lonely in all that space. She confessed how wealth insulated her from everything except her own body's rebellion. No filters. No performance. Just two people speaking the truth in the dark. At some point their knees brushed. Neither moved away. His hand found hers, tentative, questioning. She laced her fingers through his without hesitation. The first kiss happened slowly, almost accidentally, a brush of lips during a shared laugh that turned serious, searching, then deep. When they pulled apart both were breathing hard, eyes wide with wonder. What followed unfolded like a dream they were both afraid to wake from. He carried her to the bedroom when her legs trembled, not because she asked, but because he noticed. Every touch was careful, reverent. He whispered her name like a prayer. She traced the lines of his face, memorizing the way his lashes cast shadows, the faint freckles across his nose almost invisible unless you were this close. In the quiet afterward, bodies tangled in silk, she rested her head on his chest and listened to his heartbeat, strong, steady, alive. "I've never felt safe like this," she murmured. He pressed a kiss into her hair. "I've never felt seen like this." Dawn broke too cruelly. She woke to cool sheets and silence. Panic rose sharp and immediate. Then she saw the note on his pillow, torn from a delivery receipt, handwriting neat but hurried. "Thank you for opening more than your door. For seeing the man, not the uniform. I wish I could stay. I can't explain yet. But if fate allows, I'll find you again. Alex." Her fingers shook as she clutched the paper. No phone number. No address. Only the faint scent of rain and cedar still clinging to the pillow. She pressed her face into it and let the tears come, hot, silent, unstoppable. The next weeks blurred into a haze of worsening symptoms and obsessive hope. Dizziness struck without warning. Her hands shook so badly she dropped crystal glasses. Breathing felt labored even at rest. She concealed it from her father during video calls, from the private nurses who checked vitals twice daily. But she could not conceal it from herself. Every night she replayed their hours together, his low laugh when she teased him about helmet hair, the way he'd drawn slow circles on her back while they talked about dreams they'd buried, the overwhelming tenderness when he'd held her face and said, "You're not invisible to me." She began searching. Delivery app records were protected. Social media searches for Alex Rivera delivery returned nothing useful. She drove to the dispatch hub one rainy afternoon, weak but stubborn, only to be politely turned away. Desperation grew. Then, on a quiet Tuesday, she revisited the neighborhood near his usual delivery radius and noticed a faded sign above a narrow storefront, Rivera Community Health Initiative. No fanfare. Just a hand-painted board and a line of elderly patients waiting outside. Heart pounding, she stepped inside. The receptionist, a kind-faced woman in her 60s, recognized the description immediately. "Alex? He comes in twice a week. Doesn't charge anyone. Works miracles with hands and herbs and things the big hospitals won't touch." Sophia's knees nearly buckled. "Is he here today?" The woman shook her head. "Not scheduled. But he left something yesterday," said if a young woman with chestnut hair ever asked for him. She reached under the counter and handed Sophia a small envelope. Inside was another note, same handwriting, "I know you're looking. I'm sorry I ran. There are people who want me silent, people with more money than conscience. If you still want answers, meet me at the old pier at midnight Saturday. Come alone. Please." She spent 3 sleepless days agonizing. Her father would forbid it. Her body screamed at her to stay in bed. Yet love, new, fierce, terrifying, won. Saturday night she slipped past security, took the service elevator, drove herself to the abandoned pier on the industrial edge of the city. Wind whipped off the water. She waited, shivering in a thick wool coat. Headlights flashed once. A motorcycle rolled up. Alex removed his helmet, eyes shadowed with exhaustion and something deeper, fear. He approached slowly. You came. She nodded, tears already falling. You left. He winced. I had to. If they knew about you, they'd use you to get to me. He told her everything under the sodium glow of a single lamp. Dr. Alejandro Rivera, once the youngest attending neurologist at a world-renowned institute, had pioneered a neural regeneration protocol using targeted bioelectric stimulation and rare plant compounds. It reversed progression in untreatable, degenerative conditions. He published. He presented. Then he discovered the institute was burying fatal side effects of a competing drug owned by a pharmaceutical giant. He went public. They destroyed him, falsified malpractice claims, license revoked, anonymous threats, a near-fatal accident on his bike. He disappeared. Became Alex the delivery rider by day, underground healer by night. Miracles in back rooms. No records. No trace. Sophia listened, wind tearing at her coat, heartbreaking and mending at once. You could have told me. I was terrified you'd hate me for dragging you into danger. She stepped closer, cupped his face. I'm already in danger. Every day my body fails a little more. If you can help, even a little, then the risk is worth it. He searched her eyes for a long moment. Then he nodded. Come with me. They drove to a small loft above an old warehouse, his hidden sanctuary. Medical equipment neatly arranged beside second-hand furniture. He examined her that night with professional gentleness, reflex tests, gentle pressure points, questions about onset and progression. When he finished, he sat beside her on the narrow bed. I can slow it. Maybe stop it. Maybe reverse some damage. But it takes time. Daily sessions. And it means you'll have to disappear with me for a while, until I know the threats are neutralized. She didn't hesitate. Yes. The next 3 months were a secret world of healing and falling deeper in love. Mornings began with gentle stimulation sessions, his hands guiding microcurrents along nerve pathways while he whispered encouragement. Afternoons were quiet talks over instant coffee and shared meals he cooked himself. Evenings were long walks in deserted industrial parks, her hand in his, her steps growing steadier each week. They laughed over burnt rice, cried over old wounds, made love with the same reverence as that first night, only now layered with gratitude and fierce protectiveness. Victor Langford noticed the change during a surprise visit. His daughter, once pale and fragile, walked to greet him without a cane, color high in her cheeks, eyes bright. Where have you been? He demanded. She took a breath. With the man who's saving my life. Alex stepped forward, calm but unyielding. Victor's fury was immediate, shouts about class, scandal, security risks. But when Sophia demonstrated her renewed strength, lifting a heavy vase without tremor, standing on tiptoe to kiss Alex's cheek, Victor faltered. He watched Alex adjust a portable stim unit with practiced care, saw the way his daughter leaned into him like he was home. Something cracked in the older man's armor. A tense truce formed. Victor hired private security, not to watch Alex, but to protect him. Investigators traced the old enemies, legal pressure mounted. One by one the threats receded. 1 year later Sophia stood on a windswept cliff overlooking the sea, Alex beside her, simple gold bands glinting on their fingers. She ran barefoot across the grass, laughing, free, alive. Her father waited at a small wooden table set for 3, a rare smile softening his stern features. They had married quietly under starlight 6 months earlier, only Victor, 2 clinic nurses who'd become family, and an officiant who asked no questions. The world still didn't know Dr. Rivera had resurfaced. He still rode a motorcycle some nights, delivering food to those who couldn't afford clinics. But now he did it with Sophia sometimes riding behind him, arms wrapped tight, wind in their hair. Their story never made headlines. It didn't need to. It lived in the grateful tears of patients he still treated in secret rooms, in the quiet way Sophia now volunteered at shelters, in the nights they lay together listening to each other breathe, proof that miracles rarely announce themselves with fanfare. They arrive soaked from the rain, helmet under one arm, paper bag in hand, asking only that someone open the door. Love does not care about bank accounts or medical degrees. It cares about who stays when the storm arrives, who sees the soul behind the uniform, who dares to believe that healing, real healing, can begin with a single, ordinary knock. Sometimes the person who brings your dinner is carrying your second chance at life. Sometimes the heart that opens in the dark saves two people at once. If this long journey through rain, fear, love, and second chances moved you, if it reminded you that hope often wears the most unassuming face, please hit like and subscribe. There are countless more hidden miracles waiting to be told.